the Easter and Christian significance. I want you to, you just saw everything, right? From the mother. But here's the deal. Constantine, who is the father of Christianity, if you punch it in, it'll come up on the web, father of Christianity. It wasn't Yahshua at all, because this Christian religion was established in 325 AD, which is after the death of Yahshua, and or some people say after domination. So Constantine, the father of Christianity, in 325 AD, summoned the Council of Nicaea, effectively the first ecumenical council for Christians. The Council of Nicaea is most known for its dealing with what? Arianism, and for instituting the Nicene Creed, or the Homoousion, which is a fusion, homofusion Trinity. Now, this is truly a picture of the original ecumenical council, having nothing to do with Christianity. In church history, ecumenical council means, in church history, a general council or assembly of prelates and divines representing the whole church, as in the Council of Nicaea is spelled like this, nice, or Nicaea with an A. All right. As you can see in this picture, or if you can, these are all dark toned people. So I just want to throw that in there. Now, Easter and the Christian significance being continued. Constantine enforced the prohibition of the First Council of Nicaea against celebrating the Lord's Supper on the day before the Jewish Passover, and that is called quartodecimanism, which means the quarters of the moon. And it is also the Easter controversy. This marked a definite break of Christianity religion from the tradition. Quartodecimans of Asia Minor, which is over there, kept the holiday on the 14th Nisan instead of the following Sunday. What are they talking about? Well, let's see. First, quartodecimans. Saint Victor I. He was born in Africa, and he was a pope from 189 to 198 or 199. Now, after Saint Victor succeeded Saint Eleutherius in 189, Victor tried to assert Roman authority in the early Christian church. Remember, the Christians, they had to fight to even be acknowledged to have this religion of their own. Most notably, even though Constantine was a Moor, there you go. He was a Moor who was really upset that he wasn't able to go into the mystery schools yet, that he was not ready yet to do so. So he had a hissy fit and decided he was going to go ahead and lead the people into starting Christianity. Now, I didn't know that. I came to know that. But either way, this is how Christianity started, whether it was Constantine or not. But it was Constantine. I mean, whether Constantine was a Moor, or whether Constantine was a Paleolith. Doesn't matter. This is how Easter started. But we know he was, because no one had any charge back then but Moors. So here you go. Most notably, he tried to sanction the Roman date for Easter over that celebrated by the quartodecimans, the moon of Asia Minor, who kept the holiday on 14 Nisan rather than on the following Sunday. Victor threatened Polycrates, the bishop of Ephesus, and other bishops of Asia Minor with excommunication if they did not abandon their practice. And when they defied him, he went through the motions of carrying out the sentence. So the sentence was apparently withdrawn later, since the Asian churches remained in communion with Rome, and quartodeciman practices in fact continued. This is why you still have the Islamic faith from over there. All right? All right? And the prophet had to bring it to us. The principles of I self law and master. So, continued in Asia Minor for several centuries. Still, Victor's threat was reputedly the first papal act to influence the ecclesiastical affairs of the Eastern patriarchs. Patriarchs, not matriarchs. He is also believed to have been the first pope to have dealings with the imperial household. Now, Easter in Christian church history continued. This Nicene Council of 325 AD was the very first meeting of the Christian Religion Council. Guess why they met? To determine the tenets of Christian church, particularly the celebration of Easter. Now, how did the Christians determine that Easter would be observed? Well, after the spring equinox comes, then after the first full moon of the spring comes, then the first Sunday thereafter is celebrated as Easter. It is still determined by the moon to this day. They determined how they were going to celebrate Easter by the use of her, the moon, and then discarded her. Let me show you how. Which is hypocrisy at its greatest. So I did another way of deciding Easter because, you gotta get it in your mind. The celebration of Easter was decided by cosmological events to be acknowledged on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox comes. So it's the spring equinox, the full moon, and then the following Sunday. Now this year, they say that Sunday was the full moon was that Saturday, but it didn't have a 24. It has to come in a whole cycle. It has to come in a whole cycle. The full moon has to be, it's like a 3-day cycle. That's why it wasn't celebrated Sunday today. Last week, when you look at where the full moon came in. So they used her and then discarded it. Easter and Christian significance continue. From then on, I just want to add this, because this is what they did when they established Christianity. From then on, the Roman Julian calendar, which was a solar calendar, was given precedence over the lunar solar Hebrew calendar among the Christian churches of the Roman Empire. So you use the moon calculations and then you threw it away. You used it to determine, and still use the moon, her, to determine when you are going to celebrate her, Easter, one of the greatest celebrations of Christian religion. And then you threw it away, stuck her sun there, the solar calendar, patriarchal. Not that there's anything wrong with the sun, ain't do nothing wrong. What are you talking about, the sun and the moon? So they used her and then discarded her and said, well, we're not going to go back. We're going to introduce, that's why we call it the Julian calendar or the Gregorian calendar or the Christian calendar or whatever calendar you want. It doesn't matter. They discarded the lunar solar calendar, of which we're all talking about. We're all talking about planning by that calendar, the moon, which is her, but they're going to discard that. So what about Friday, referred to as the Passover Friday, also called Paschal, also called Black Friday? That terrible Friday has been called Good Friday because it led to the resurrection of Jesus, her son, and his victory over death and sin, and the celebration of Easter, the very pinnacle of Christian celebration. So we got to figure out, okay, so we're dealing with that on Christmas and we're dealing with that on Easter, but what are we really dealing with? Her. But they cloak it. So Friday. First, you got to know the days of the weeks. Sunday is the first day. Monday is the second. Tuesday is the third. Wednesday is the fourth. Thursday is the fifth day. Friday is the sixth day. And the seventh day on the Sabbath when he rests was a Sabbath, which is Saturday. All right? So, just in case you don't have it, we're dealing with 60 Friday Venus, ruled by Venus, which is Rhea, which is Frigga, which is Astarte, which is Ishtar, which is Isis, which is Mother. And another word in Spanish they'll call Venus, Vienes. So we're just identifying the sixth day of creation. And that is why, for all of us who have studied the 101s, understand from the 101 questionnaire 23, Why is Friday a holy day? Oh, I don't know. It's ruled by mother. That's one good daggone reason. It's the day of creation. The answer is because Friday is the day on which man was formed in flesh. And it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh. That is the answer. And when you look at that, you're thinking maybe, well, I wasn't born on Friday. I don't know if I was formed in the flesh on Friday. Man, am I going to die? Am I going to depart this earth on a Friday? You would think that because you don't have keys to break this down. That simply means if Venus is Friday, Friday is the day on which man was formed in their mother's flesh. Mm-hmm. And it was on Friday when he departed out of your mother's flesh, called birth, through that birth canal that we showed, which is symbolized by the Ankh, which is the symbol of fertility as opposed to the bunny rabbits and the eggs. Now, the subjugation of women came into institutionalized social practice by edicts and bulls issued from the Roman Church. And then they, in Christianity, put a cross through the crown and said, in this sign we shall conquer. And so that is what appears they have done. Now, sister, oh, here's another, this is a throw-in. I just wanted to bring this to the table. Constantine also made a new rule of law once they established their Christianity. And this is that address a law addressed to the so-called Jews, which was really originally us, and it wasn't Jews, that they were forbidden to own who? Christian slaves, or to circumcise their slaves. So now this is a mission of who was enslaved. Because again, these people are starting a Christian religion. We realize we can erase all these damn religions. Every single last one of them come from her and take our place amongst the affairs of man for real. Because that's where it comes from. And these religions are what is causing bias. These religions are what is causing much problems between people. So I want to say this, and Sister J, I saw you put that's the two triangles. I want to go back to that, and you can give us a demonstration on that, if you don't mind. So now I want to say this: this Christian religion that they established. Here are the tenets of it. See, and then understand why. On chapter 46, the prophet explains to you what Christianity is and why it is for their earthly salvation and not yours. So the Christian decrees, only 3, when we, Constantine and Licinius emperors, Constantine and Licinius emperors had an interview at Milan and conferred together with respect to the good and the security of the commonwealth, it seemed to us that amongst those things that are profitable to mankind in general, the reverence paid to the divinity merited our first and chief attention, and that it was proper that the Christians and all others should have liberty to follow that mode of religion which to each of them appeared best. But of course they lied. So that God who is seated in heaven might be benign and propitious to us and to everyone under our government. They said that everybody can do their thing on what they want to worship. So when I, Constantine Augustus, and Licinius Augustus, they've got titles now. See, the first one was just Constantine, and it is all about finance. I'm gonna prove it right now. It was Constantine and Licinius, but now they got some titles. Constantine Augustus and I, Licinius Augustus, came under favorable auspices to Milan and took under consideration everything. Now, Milan was a milestone for them. Milan was a milestone, and that was where it broke through and said, oh, shit, go ahead, have your daggone religion. And took under consideration everything which pertained to the commonwealth and prosperity. We resolved, among other things, or rather, first of all, to make such decrees as seemed in many respects for the benefit of every one, namely, such as should preserve reverence and piety. That's the pious, right? The hypocrite. worshiping almost to hypocrisy toward the deity. We resolve, that is, to grant both to the Christians and to all men freedom to follow the religion which they choose, that whatever heavenly divinity exists may be propitious to us and to all that live under what? Our government. So now we got Christianity. I know what govern means. It means govern the mind. But watch this. All right, let me read it again. This part. We resolve, that is, to grant both to the Christians and to all men freedom to follow the religion which they choose, that whatever heavenly divinity exists may be propitious to us and to all that live under our government. Last one. Whereas we have learned that certain ecclesiastics and others devoting their services to the church, they have been compelled by men of different religions. I thought that it was okay. I thought you said it was everybody could do their thing. But they have been compelled by men of different religions to the performance of lustral sacrifices. We decree by this sanction that if any person should suppose that those who devote their services to the most sacred law may be forced to the ritual of an alien superstition. Who and what are they talking about now? We just read how they called the woman superstitious. We just read how they called it evil. We just read how they called it suspicious. I don't know. To a ritual of an alien superstition, he shall be beaten publicly with clubs. This is supposed to be godlike stuff. Provided, though, but he'll be beat with clubs, provided, though, that his legal status so permits them to beat him with clubs. What's your status? If, however, the consideration of his honorable rank protects him from such an outrage. In other words, who are you? If his rank or his relationship to the rest of the community, which is what status means, protects him from such an outrage of being beat by clubs, well, then what we're going to do, he will just he shall sustain the penalty of a very heavy fine. Oh, which shall be vindicated where? To the municipalities. Come on, y'all. Municipalities are Roman venues. Don't tell me you're a citizen of that. Come on now. That's the Christian decree. So I said all that to say dominion is spiritual ownership. Domination is forced ownership and usurpation. And I'm going to lastly read, this from the Circle 7 Holy Quran, chapter 46. Right before he tells you about the geographical bounds of your estate, your Aboriginal Indigenous estate, the beginning of Christianity. Now, I just read to you some of the stuff. You just heard it. The foundation, number one, the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nations founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth, for seeking to redeem his own people from under the Roman yoke and law. So, it was founded by the church who crucified Jesus. Why are you going to that church? What? This is what the prophet is just saying. Look, that's their stuff. That's their earthly salvation, not yours. Number two, Jesus himself was of the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and the inhabitants of Africa. So clearly, he wasn't from their Roman church. And seeking to redeem his people in those days from the pressure of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, Rome crucified him, though, according to their law. It's a hypocrisy at the most when you got people worshiping or respecting Yahshua or quote Jesus, and they're going to the same institution that crucified him. Like, I don't think the prophet could have put it any better as to why that is not your salvation. That religion is not your salvation. That's their earthly salvation. They got to answer to that, not you. Anyway, then Europe had peace for a long time until Muhammad the first came upon the scene and fulfilled the works of Jesus of Nazareth. Now, the holy teaching of Jesus was to the common people to redeem them from under the great pressure of the hands of the unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor. Also, that the lion and the lamb may lay down together, and neither would be harmed when morning came. So these teachings were not accepted by the rulers, neither were they accepted by the rich, because they loved the principles of the Ten Commandments. That's a heavy right there. Like, who had to be taught the Ten Commandments? Number 7, through the Ten Commandments, the rulers and the rich live, while the poor suffer and die. Because you're looking for everything outside of yourself to be your command, when your command center is your mind. So this is what religions have done. Although every religion is established to teach you of your infirmity, at least that's what they think they're doing. But we're talking about Christianity right up in here right now. Through the Ten Commandments, the rulers and the rich live, while the poor suffer and die. The lamb is the poor people, the lion is the rulers and the rich. And through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all men are one and equal to seek their own destiny and to worship under their own vine and fig tree, after the principles of the holy and divine laws of their forefathers. Number 9, completion. All nations of the earth in these modern days are seeking peace. But there is but one true and divine way that peace may be obtained in these days, and it is through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, being taught universally to all nations in all lands. Now, I'm going to end because of time factors, and I was going to go into what a matriarch is. We don't need to. I want to say this. The reason why I showed you the yonk, and that is the uterine, is that we have a birth record. And we recently, maybe last year, changed the first part of it. And this is just a sample. This is fictitious. This is our Carolina Bay. Carolina Bay, as natural mother of Divine Bay, and being of sound mind, body, and soul, herein affirm firsthand to the uterine descent birth. Nothing can trump that. No birth certificate, no record of someone else. You are the witness to the birth of your child, first and foremost, from the conception to the delivery or the birth. Okay? And then you can satisfy their needs in a way. They don't want to talk your language. Divine Bay was born on the 3rd of September 2023 CCY 1443 MCY, being born at Earth coordinates, longitude and latitude, known secularly, which is business, as Eastville, New Jersey. Put it in there. Nothing can trump this record. And that's from the uterine birth. And don't say it don't work, because if you go in an intelligent tone, you shall get a favorable reply. It's not true. Don't listen to what the people say. Man, don't know about being told. So 2 things right now. What have we learned? We learned why my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because they have rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. The sister is the priest. She's the one who gives out those titles to the priest, to Morlu Arkanil, to any of them. It all comes from her. Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget your children. And that's what's happened. Chronicles 2, 7 and 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. This is mother talking to you. I know you think it's the feminine, the male God. No, this is mama. This is, look at it different. And seek my face, that's wisdom. And turn from your wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Heal their land. Wisdom speaks from on high. So I say this is what we've learned. Now I'm going to go back because remember we're doing the masterminds, trace themselves us. And I had to bring it to the civic part because this Christian degree right here that I just read you, that's what they did too. They said you will pay a heavy fine if your status isn't correct. They're saying that even if your status is correct, that's what they're saying, we still gonna find you. And that's what we do. So you got to break that spell. Let's go back now to two things. I think Sister J wanted to mention something about the two. I saw in the chat of these two triangles. I think it was Sister J.
Peace.
Peace and love. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear me because I'm in a crazy spot. But I
Okay.
just want to say before I start that this was a beautiful, beautiful class. I mean, just well put together. Uh, I just really enjoy it. I just really, really enjoyed this class. So I just wanted to say that. Um, give you your props for this beautiful class as always.
Well, I want to tell you that whatever you wanted to explain with the triangles, but we were calling on you about the three creative fates. So I'm gonna go back to that too. But you wanted to say something, I think, about the triangles. I thought.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
Uh, I wrote in a chat about the three triangles because it said man was it was Friday that man was born, and then also he departed from the flesh.
Oh,
So
yes.
that's what I referenced. That's what we're talking about, the two triangles where people get confused. So as you showed that Friday is the sixth, that's the number six. All
Yep.
right. The
Thank
three the three is the three. That's three and three, which equals six.
you.
And in
Yep.
order to create a being or create anything, there must come love. Love into creation, creating something, right? And so Venus plays a part in that being the number six, also being love, also the yin and the yang. So it has to have masculine and feminine or yin and yang energy to manifest. And
Hmm.
so that's just being in your bringing both your higher and lower self together, and then you create something like that. So that's why I said the six. That's where the six comes into play, because you need the sex to create the flesh. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about sex. It doesn't have to
Right.
be, with two people, all right? So when I say you need the sex, you need both of the energies to create their being. That's what I mean.
Can I comment on that too? You said you're right
Of
because you're not talking
course.
about sex, but when you come into having that sexual energy, realize that you are creating an energy around you,
Absolutely.
and it don't have to be a baby. It's just some energy. So be
It's,
careful
yes,
when you're
and
in.
it's a creation. That's part
Yes,
of creation, period.
yes, ma'am. All right.
Say this, it is sex, but just not every sex is not always lower self. So if
Right.
it
Right.
depends on what, yeah, so it's definitely sex. Six equals sex. Six
Yes,
always equals sex.
say that. You're
So
actually
that's what it, yeah. So, but it just depends on where your mind's at. That's what I mean as far as your development and your knowledge that you know, in particular to the word sex. So six is sex always. When you see six, you see in sex. When you see sex, you see six,
correct.
especially in scripture.
Correct.
So
Correct.
yeah,
What I meant was it doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily create a baby,
absolutely.
create energy.
Yes, yes, I agree. Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you distinguished that. So
Yeah.
thank you. Yes,
Yes.
on
And also,
point.
And also, yo, when I mentioned about the orgiastic stuff, that's why they had those because you can imagine how much energy they were creating with them orgies. Um,
Oh yeah, that's
oh
something
yeah,
else.
that stuff in the private whatever. The hand up is Sister Energy, yes.
Islam. Couple of
Islam.
things. Going back to the triangles that you do have on the board, I'll start there. As I put the math in the chat, with the first one, you got your 360. And then that 360, of course, is a 9. And then with the X alpha, you have your 360 and 360 coming together, which is your 720, which is a 9. And bringing those two together, 9 and 9 is 18, which is the 9. I was just loving the awesomeness of the frequency, vibration, and energy of our experience. And to camel walk with the sister, as far as the number six, six represents sex, six representing as a number frequency, liberty, and passion.
I want to go back to the three fates, Sister J, because I just remember you first did. I think it was one of your first Circle Seven classes, and I don't know the way you explained it. We went over it, but I know that you had a great explanation of the three. I know it's three creative fates, three sisters, Trinity, the whole thing. But if you would do that,
All right, so layout. Let's just talk about the three fates. So first we want to break down the word fate itself, and if we break down the word fate, um, let's just the definition is all right. So in the Greek mythology, the three goddesses, that's what you were talking, the three goddesses over birth and human life or life of humans, but also as the goddesses over the gods as well. So each person's destiny was thought of as a thread, the spawn, and measured and cut. Spawn, measured, and cut. So the three fates. That's what that is. But also it was reference to the three real sisters or the three norns. It's many different, you know. But
Trinity,
yeah, Trinity. It's so
Christ
many.
blessed.
What was the parquet? I want to say that as well. Um, but one of the things I just want to point out is the spun, measure, cut. Because on when you look up the three norms, it's the past, future, or the past, present, future.
Wow. Yes.
All right.
Whoa,
So
hold on. Wait a minute.
mm-hmm,
Spun, like spinning.
mm-hmm,
And what was the other one? Measure. That's where we are
measure.
in the present. We are measured.
Yes,
And all of
we're
us, oh
measuring.
my goodness. Yes, we have our own measure. All right, go ahead. Beautiful.
Yes, you see, yeah. So, um, as you see how you were able to see the correlation, a lot of times, and then even where you showed earlier of the goddess, right? The same correlation of Mary. So a lot of times it's the same story, just different names to the story. Um,
Yes.
but I also wanted to look up the what you call the root word of faith, and it means to speak. To speak that which has been spoken, actually, that which has been spoken. So, you know how they talk about the word. That means the word, once it's said, that's what it is. So that which has been spoken and now is manifested.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. Yes.
as in Norse mythology, that's Norse. The Norns are Norns are female beings who govern the shape fate.
Mm.
All right. And then that's the central part representing the force that controls destiny. They are often associated with the whale of located at the base of Godbeerus. Excuse me. So I'm just going to spell it for reference. A Yggd as in dog Rasil. And then again, remember the North is the past, present, and future. So the spins, the thread of life representing birth, measure, which is the length of the thread determining lifespan, and cuts, the thread signifying the death,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Wow.
All right. So now let's go to creative. Let's break it down and we're going to put it all together. Creative originates from the Latin word curi, meaning to make or to produce. This root tracks back to the Proto-Indo-European root ker, K-E-R, meaning to grow or to cause to grow, to
Mm.
cause to grow. So when we talk about creative faith, even when we go back to the Circle 7, Chapter 1, creative faith, right? Creative faith made it that we had what? The soul, the flesh, and the spirit, so that we can manifest on each of those planes.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So creative faith meaning causing us to grow. Creative, causing us to grow. All
Wow.
right. So this wasn't originally in the class, but I have found this later, and I just wanted to share it out of the scriptures and myth book, and it's called the Fate Sphere or the Fate Sphere, like atmosphere but sphere. Fate Sphere,
Mm-hmm.
a symbol of the lower planes as subject to the law of cause and effect, or karma, in relation to spiritual monad. Why is it karma? Because remember, we're talking about the past, present, and the future,
Mm-hmm.
which is all tangled together.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. So the past, present, and future is all in one. But anyway,
This is why they say to you, what you do in the present moment will dictate also the future
the
immediate.
future.
Yep.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right.
All right. So here's some quotes they have from this fate sphere definition. But the definition of fate sphere is a symbol of the lower planes as subject to the law of cause and effect, or chromatic in relations to spiritual monad. And then after they put the definition, they'll just have different references. So these are the references. Quote, but all father mind. So all father mind, being life and light, did bring forth man co-equal to himself. This man, or integral, what is it?
Integral, integrating,
In-
integral.
Thank you. It's
Mm-hmm.
the spiritual prototype of humanity and of every individual man. The next reference is the man, the heavenly man, the son of God, who descends and becomes a slave of the fate, fear, the man who, through originally endured with all power, descends into weakness and bondage and has to win his own freedom and regain his original state. All right, that goes back to chapter 1. Man must regain his estate in the conflict that cannot be told in words.
Mm-hmm.
The heavenly man is the self or world soul who descends into matter, right? And becomes the heteropal man when all his qualities are involved. He subjects himself to karma and in the process of evolution rises from the dead and ascends in humanity to his original state on the higher plane. All right, so that's the fate here. All right, so what does that mean? That means that um, the fate is really nothing more than explaining to us in a manner that we can understand the way that life that we are experiencing today is. And it correlates right hand in hand with chapter 1 of the Circle 7 Holy Quran. That we
Mm-hmm.
have to go through these experiences, and in going through these experiences on the earthly plane, these things that we do each moment, like Mother Rob said, automatically reflects our future, whether the near future or your later future on a different plane.
I like
So
to say it's the immediate future. How you know what I'm saying? It's like, what decisions you make right now, what you do, what you say. That's that's almost like that creates what's going to happen next, even in
absolutely.
the media. Yeah.
Yeah, even in the immediate future, you're right. That's why the past, present, and the future is really one
Yep.
because it's
Yeah.
immediate. So
So
yeah,
we
I
can,
agree.
so we can't forget our past.
Nope.
So Sister J mentioned karma, so we cannot forget the past. We go back to three. You gotta have three.
Yep. 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 If you don't know where you came from, you ain't gonna know where you're going.
Islam. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Well, no, thank you for sharing. So everyone, I told you that I had called her out because I told you she had a great um explanation of this picture, and as you can see, she did. So we thank you, Jay.
Yeah, and again, I'm so upset about it because I'm not. I wanted to be at my computer and really show the
Yeah.
slides that I had, 4 slides, but I'm out and about and traveling, so I'm actually outside sitting. So
Oh,
that's really what I could do just right here. But again, I still appreciate it. I trust everyone receives, and then we always go back and study for ourselves as well. So peace.
yes. Yes, it was beautifully done. Thank you so much for that. So now let me just go back up to. Oh, and by the way, I don't know. You're not able to see. Are you able to see Jay on the line?
I can see now. I can see now.
Oh, okay.
Remember, I had to call in, and then it was crazy. I can see now.
I know.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
No,
I
no,
can see
it's all
now.
right because I had used this modern picture when I was talking about the threefold goddess. That is the threefold goddess of Arabia Magnadia is what is enshrined in that sacred black stone at the Kaaba of Mecca, where she was served in ancient times by her priestesses. The sacred black stone at Mecca, site of so many pilgrimages, is imprinted with her vulva yani, which is the vagina, sign and covered with a black paw called the skirt of Kaaba. So I just decided to use
Wow,
yes, yes,
wow,
yes.
wow. Because that picture it goes hand in hand with the text, and we
Yep.
didn't even use that originally for that.
Nope.
Wow,
And that's why
wow, that's amazing.
I wanted you to see that. And I remind everyone that if you're looking for the goddess, all these depictions of the goddess that they have, just look at the sister standing next to you, or sitting next to you, or walking down the street, because that's what this is about. Her. Yes, indeed. So I want to go to back to our beginning where I had the 5 questions. And then, Sister Karima, I know I just showed everyone how this Easter became what it is now, and how there's no illegitimate children. And it was a piece that you were going to read as it referred to Christianity. So I want you to hold that. But we're going to go here. And also, the picture that I showed you, which is the Isis with Horus sitting in the lap. And sometimes you'll see him and the child is standing. But that is a picture of her breastfeeding. That's what that is. And that's like sort of like original from all the other depictions people have made. So now we came and said that this is the picture, a symbolic, modern, commercialized picture of Easter. It's showing and symbolizing fertility, right? With the eggs and the bunnies. The bunnies don't lay eggs, but still, that's why it's a depiction of fertility. And we said that so is this. That's the depiction of fertility. Now I want and that this Libra sign is also the Ankh. If you just take the line that's laying down and turn it up, that's the Ankh. That's Libra Maya. Now let's go to our 5 questions from the beginning. What does Easter represent, how and why? And I trust that throughout this presentment, we all ought to be able to answer all of these questions. Why is Easter considered a religious observance? Question 2. Is that said religious observance a Christian religion acknowledgement, or does it span across all religious disciplines? If so, why? So, question 1, answer. If someone wants to give the answer, they can right now. Why is Easter considered a religious observance? I'll answer it. Because it's about her, Astarte, um, Ishtar, Isis, Venus, all the names that I gave at the top of the class, right? Which were, let's go back. Let's go back. I listed it. Astarte, Ishtar, Isis, Rhea, Esther, Easter, Maat, Venus, and many, many, many more. Um, it doesn't matter. So now we're going to go back to our question number 2. Now, if someone wants to answer these, just let me know. Let's go to question number 2. Is that said religious observance a Christian religion acknowledgement, or does it span across all religious disciplines? If so, why? Does someone want to
I
answer?
want to try to try at answering it.
Say that again.
I'll attempt. I said I want to attempt at answering the question.
Okay, all right, go
So,
ahead.
all right. So, my answer would be that it spans across all religious disciplines, and
Yep.
then if so, why? I would have to say because it's using the moon and astrology and astrological events that's taking place. And with that, we are all up under the sky, and so as above, so below. That's what my answer.
Beautiful. Now, hold on a moment. Before we go to 3, someone, Low Hillman put, no, that wasn't Low Hillman. I thought it was. No, yes, it was. He says we religiously observe and align ourselves with her divine principles. That's why that's same correct answer. It spans across. Tamara says it spans across all because it comes from the mother principle. Absolutely. All right. So number 3, is Easter a representation of fertility on the earth? Now, this is kind of a two-part question. Or is it a representation of the resurrection of Yahshua, Jesus, from his grave, as in he has risen, which is also recognized again on Christmas? And that was one of the things that I was like, why are we talking this is why are they talking about he has risen on Christmas and then they're talking about it on Easter? Is it because that I mean, there's a truth to that in some way because it's all cosmological, but and it's all really about her. But I attempt to answer that one.
All right. Wait. Do anybody else want to attempt before I try to attempt? I just jumped in there.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So, um, Habib is no, she said Islam to what we said. Energy says yes to number 3. Is Easter a representation of fertility on earth? Yes. And then you're saying no to is it a representation of the resurrection of Yahshua Jesus from his grave, as in he has risen, which is also recognized again on Christmas. Would you like to explain why?
The reason why I said that, you already said it in your statement, is cosmological. The sun appears to be gone out of the sky, and 3 days ago, straight up, rise on the cross, so forth and so on. So that's why I'm saying no, because of the cosmology of it all. But as far as the bunny and the eggs and da 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 da, well, that's the symbology here on the planet Earth. And it's representing the feminine principle, which, once again, when a baby girl is born, she's born with all the eggs that will furnish a nation, at least her portion of it. So that's why the first part of that question for me is yes. The second part is no, because of the cosmology that it speaks of as far as the resurrection, as well as you pointing out that that's a December as well as April type thing. So yeah, that's my answer.
Let's see. Um. Oh wait, Mother Roz, are you muted? Are you trying to say something?
Tamara
Oh.
says it is both because to have a resurrection there will be birth. I'm not clear with that. What say you?
Whew. That one is such a deep, deep, deep one.
Yep.
Because it takes you to, in what aspect are you speaking, right? So to
Mm-hmm.
the first part, absolutely everyone agrees with yes, fertility on earth. But for the second part, it can be depending on what. It's such a deep one. All right, let me just say it as much as the best way I can. All right. So when we talk about Joshua and Jesus, Joshua, aka Jesus, um, now we have to talk about what does he really represent?
Mm-hmm.
Because now we have to take it out of the aspect of him being a human being or him being a brother that's walking down the street and just really put it into the aspect. What does we or what according to the everyone's studies do we know Jesus as to represent?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone want to get that? What do we know Jesus as to represent?
Justice. I put it in the chat.
Okay, justice. All right, justice, or some may say the sun too, right?
Mm-hmm. The Christ ray,
The
right?
sun, right? The sun. And then now let's talk about our body, the body part, right? If we're speaking everything we learned, so we got justice, we got the sun, we got our body part. So if he represents the sun, it probably would be um, if he's talking about the chakra, or if you're talking about the heart for Leo, I don't know, like which sun, because if we're speaking not just as a human being and not just as the resurrection of a human being, but as the resurrection of the energy coming forth, I would say yes, Easter also represents that because this is a, let me see, how can I explain it? It's so hard to put it into words. Because the mothering energy is not left out. Let me say that. The mothering energy is not left out, or the feminine energy is not left out. Like you can't have one without the other. And I believe that Jesus is both feminine and masculine. And so I think with that, we're just rising our vibration to that level, as far as with the resurrection of the energy. Okay, now let me say it in this way. So if we're talking about the spring, right? In the winter, everything is dead, and then in the springtime, everything comes back alive. So
Mm-hmm.
now that's what I mean as far as the resurrection, as far as pieces of us internally is coming back alive, or it's on the world, on the earth, with the planet. I think that is the form of resurrection in that sense, in that form. Then yes, Easter also represents that as well. So
Well,
that's the best way I can say
all
it.
right.
But what
Hope.
do you got? What do you got, Mother Ross? What do you got?
Well, yeah, and Karima got her hand up, but let me say this.
All right.
Tamara had said that in order to, what did she say, to have a resurrection, there will be birth or rebirth because of the representation of the fact that, you know, he was supposedly in the tomb and done and gone, right? But then he or resurrected. But the spirit is always apparent. So we're talking a physical thing. So there was really no birth. It was like a symbol of the fact that things are everlasting. That's why we mentioned
Mm-hmm.
everlasting. So there really was no death, but death of the flesh. So let's see what Karima has to say.
Yeah.
Yes, Sister Karima.
Love and peace, love and peace. So your question is Easter a representation? Of course it
Yeah.
is, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, let's go back to the Friday when man entered and man exited on the sixth day. That is that is what we that's what I
Mm-hmm.
see here, right? Because if Jesus resurrected or rescinded, regenerated from the grave, that's his. darkened place, right? He went inside a cave, right?
Mm-hmm.
A mental cave, which is your mind, right? He went in there and he has risen to another level
Mm-hmm.
of divinity. So yes, it is yes and yes for both. It's all intertwined into the 6th day, Friday. You told us Easter was all of those, Isis, Venus, all,
Yep.
all of those. So it's all of that. Yes. So he has risen means his knowledge has risen. We
Wow.
all go into the cave.
Yes.
Now the reason why they do this, like you read, is for finance. This is why they have the two. If you want to look above the surface of all of this, they do this for finance.
Mm-hmm. And they cleared her out, right? They've cleared her out of the way.
They cleared her out, but like the brother said, we consciously and unconsciously uh honor the mother principle, like
That's
he
right.
stated.
That's right.
So it is within us to have these attributes,
Mm-hmm.
but we've been shoveled with the BS every day.
The avalanche of lies to heaped upon us. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, the avalanche. Yes.
Avalanche. All right, so then this should make the last question, number 5, pretty simple to answer, I think. Is Easter a name? Should have put in quote name of a personification of someone. If so, who? Any takers? Tamara says yes, of mother. That is correct because all those names I gave are of the same personification of the same thing, which is mother, moon, the moon goddess. It is the same. It is not. Now, know this on Jesus or Yeshua. He is the S-U-N son is the noblest image of the all. All right. And who brings him? Right. The Virgin Mother. And we know what the virgin is now. All right. It's not necessarily anything to do with sex at all. Strong and strength and those other words that were on there. Now, so Easter is the name of the personification of someone, and that is of the mother. The mother. And so they kind of erased that out. But like you said, it is consciously or subconsciously or what there. And the other name for mother and who this is that we have to get to is what? It's right in the circle 7. It says, who is speaking to you from on high? I know Jay got the answer to that. Who is speaking to you from on high?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Wisdom is wrong. I wrote it in the chat. Sorry.
I see it now. I see it now. Energy wrote it in too. And so another name for wisdom, we could go with these personified names all day, as we are showing. Is Sophia. Sophia is means or love. It means wisdom. Sophia is like philosophy. It also means what's the word I'm looking for? Well, actually, it means love. That's really what it means. So, yes, it's the personification of mother, not the personification of some name that someone else is calling in their religion, Jehovah, the this, that. Not that those names aren't real, but that's what it is. It is from her. Love of wisdom, philosophy. Yeah. Philo. That is why in the secret teachings of the Brotherhood of the East, when the seven sages had met, they then met in whose house? Philo's house. Philo, love, philosophy, Sophia. That's the house they met in. The first principle, which is love. So, Lori, your hand was up. Did you accidentally do that, or did you have a comment? I have a private message. Oh, unable to respond because I'm showing on hold. Well, let me see why you're showing on hold. What
Oh, you have blocked everybody. You,
Yeah,
Mother Ross, can I answer number five to my?
absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
so I when you personification, and we've been taught that this is spooky dooky, but this is the high priestess in the tarot, right? The
Mhm.
divine feminine. We often put labels on it when it gets down to this earthly matter that we're trying to transverse. So the high priestess, she represents the intuition of the subconscious mind, right? So that's why I said earlier, we subconsciously and consciously know these things. That's what we are. I don't. Religiously.
That means to realign thyself.
Yeah,
To
that
really,
we're realigning. Yeah, realigning ourselves back with Mother because all things go back to Source, and that's a
mm,
fact. I yield.
beautiful. Anybody else want to answer on number five or thought on number five? Chapter two is he brought in chapter two. Yes, it's about mother and divine principle manifest in human flesh. And chapter one is mother speaking to you from on high wisdom. And the next call of duty of order is to speak to the sons to tell them what their duty is. And that they will be the first to bring this light of truth, provided what? That they have been given it from her, or that they comprehend it, or that they know it. So that shows you right there. It's all in order. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Any other comments?
Yes, but then you got to go back to the chapter that you read. In order to find peace, certain things must be brought into place. They must be taught universally. So these chapter two things must be taught universally in order for we all to see peace.
All right. Now, guess what? Lori put in the chat because I don't know why you're not. I tried to unmute you. I don't know why you're on hold. It must be maybe you made a call and maybe you need to. But if you don't want to come back in on it, and this is your question, we can answer it very squarely. Are the people who go on pilgrimage to Mecca aware that the black stone is about the vulva? And Habiba says, no, they are not. And Tamara said, that's a good question. And then Habiba says, they are told that they can't look at the symbolism. All right. All right. Because whether they are aware or not is I mean, we don't know, but generally speaking, they're not told. Like she said, they can't look at the symbolism. Just come kiss this Baba, right? You know what I mean? And circle around 7 times. All of this is the divine goddess moon. All right, the moon. So the thing is, what we're doing right here, we're making them aware. I mean, for those who don't, other people can get this information too. But now, once they became aware, let's talk about it. The props and so on. Would they continue to do it? Not because they don't like mother, but because they have found finally that all of these religions is about her. And there is no need for you to ritualize and walk around the stall 7 times to kiss her vulva. I mean, this is what I'm thinking that maybe people would begin to realize because they're doing stuff outside of themselves. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like to me that okay, we could do rites and rituals and things like that, but why? Shaka, we agree. She says yes.
No, you're not wrong. You're on point. That's what the Circle Seven was about. It said we only need those things if we need to follow after people.
Yes.
But once you recognize and know the knowledge for yourself, you don't need anything or anything symbolic too. You just do the actual thing.
You just be, right? And the prophet came to teach us to be ourselves. So I understand what you're saying, Jay. It's like once you have this knowledge within you, then you're right. You don't need this external. That's just like, faith. That's like belief, faith,
It's
and
it's the
manifestation.
same as saying you don't need the priest no more. It's the same.
Hmm.
You don't need the priest
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, but we need those symbols though.
Hmm.
We need the symbols.
Some
Yeah,
do, some do, some do, and then there'll be a time when we grow out of the symbols as well, because like Mother Rouse has said, we'll just be. The symbols is you, being. But right now we do. We use those symbols because we forgot. And the symbols help us remember. But we
Absolutely.
don't.
That's why in the secret teaching of the Brotherhood of the East, it says men are not ready. I don't want to misquote it. I'll find it. It says men are not ready. They need signs and symbols and patterns and things or whatever. So you're right.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
They have no faith.
absolutely.
They have no faith. They have no faith.
Right. Because faith was her and she shined very brightly, so bright that it burnt their eyes. And so she had to leave from them. You see what I'm saying? Because they couldn't receive it. And what took the place of faith, everyone, is something called doubt. And everybody's in doubt. Many are in doubt and they're looking for this and this religion and that and so on instead of inside of themselves. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So now, yes, 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 yes. Let me see. The chat is live on this. So I love that question, Lori, about do they know? And then the question is once they do know, if they don't, if they receive the truth, are they able to? The better question on that is, are they able to receive the truth? Would they like to spend the night? And I'm using that metaphorically to awaken to the light of truth or the truth of light. That's the question. That's the question. Will they receive that truth? Because it's not going to change. See, it's not going to change. How do we know? We're going through all these different types of religions, and they all are worshiping the mother, even if they don't accept it or don't acknowledge it or don't know it. They are. That's the whole thing. They are. So Cayenne says if ritual is not done in the honor of the mother, it is void, said the present conditions of the mother feminine energy. Period. That's why she's still talking to you from wisdom is crying out from on high. Like, yo, I'm over here. Yes, you got to climb the mountain and you got to, go through what you got to go through to get yourself right. But this is your destiny. This is what you need to, the path that you need to take. And then there's people who are agents against you getting there, and they may establish all kinds of religion, all kinds. But all of that in these times is about to be dead because the only purposes, and this is chapter 8 of the Circle 7, I mean the secret teachings of the Brotherhood of the East, and it says, uh, men are looking for greater light. No longer do they care for gods that are hewn out of wood. That's a symbol. They seek for Allah not made with hands, and they see the beam of coming days, and yet they comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion well these garments for the race. And then the one I wanted to read. Oh, here we go, number 15. Video Potty said, our priests have all gone mad. They saw a demon in the wilds, and at him they cast their lamps, and they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. It says the priesthood cannot be reformed because it's all messed up, right? It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. So the new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest amongst himself, enables him to, that's mother in you, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine. And Casper said, in Persia, people walk in fear. They do the good for fear of doing the wrong, not knowledge, but fear. The devil is the greatest power in our land. And though he is a myth, he dandles on his knees both the youth and the age. The fear of evil is a myth. It is an illusion and a snare, but it will live until some mighty power comes to rise the ethers to the plane of light. And that's what the fire is about now. The ethers are rising right now, and mentally you need to be able to vibrate in those ethers, because in chapter 1 it said that the ethers had but it has slowed down. Well, now they're speeding up. Can you keep up? Islam. Kareem, I think you wanted to say something else.
No, no, no. I was just biding my time until you called upon me again. I was biding my.
No, no, because we're coming to the end, and what
Oh,
you did,
okay. No, no. So
what
this was a these questions are great. This was a oh my goodness. This is a eye opener for me. And thank you for that. I just want to say, but the most profound thing that from this lesson, what I've taken was when you showed the the cross going through the crown, right? This is a mission that they have, uh, I want to say, mastered throughout the ages, right? So we are all crowned at birth. So if I take that cross and I supplant it in your consciousness, because the cross is the consciousness, and I plant that in your head, this cross, and then the Christians took this symbol of your consciousness and planted it firmly and deeply into your crown. Yes. And then I am also looking at this cross. They have it pointed at the Sagittarius Gemini cross section. If we looking at the astrology, this is your higher self and the lower. But it's awesome to see this, that this is, they have conquered uh through this very things, right? That But this is profound. Looking at this, and I see it. We don't think about it, but they supplanted that
Yep.
cross.
Yep, I thought my mic was on, but I was saying yes, yes, I was agreeing with you. And then what I said is, and what does this say? They don't hide nothing. In hot signal Vinces, in this side, we conquer.
Yes, the sign, they, like I said, they took the symbol of the cross. They planted that Christianity in the heads of our foremothers and forefathers, and this is how we were conquered. But
And
we are giving it back, and we are taking back our true religion, Islamism. I
mm,
saw I self law and master without doubt or contradiction. Once again, thank you for having this class today. Yes.
and I will say this, that you brought that up and about the crown. All of us have been crowned. Remember, from her, right here. You're crowned at birth. Crowned as a child of humanity. Crowned at birth. So they put their signal through your mind, through the crown that your mother already gave you. You don't need to look for no titles or nothing else. You got it already. You were born with it. You were born and crowned at birth. And they're like, okay, we're going to do an uncrowning. by messing with their head and their mind and giving them false teachings. Come on, y'all. So, with that being said,
That's correct. That's the summation of it. That's what they
that is.
did.
That
They
is.
they got the Bible belt. They'll beat you with it. The belt until until you learn that Bible, right? You know you can't go past the Mason Dixon line, right? That's where the Bible belt is.
Mm,
And we know that the fire is going to start from the south. All of this is great class. It's so many things to tie into this, and I thank you because if I don't know about anyone else, but it got me to thinking, and that's all we need to do is start thinking, right?
hey, prophet said if I could get you to thinking, you would what? Free yourself. You would free yourself if I could get you to thinking. And so I
Amen.
yes.
As you're showing why this image is on the screen for everyone to see that can. As we all know, within a mother's womb, it is the symbolism of the Ankh, the
Mm,
first and true cross.
mm-hmm.
And as you said, and through the process, you're crowned. So that cross is already instilled in you. Now, if mother has not been infiltrated before
Mm,
you was formed in her womb, that cross that they attempt to put through your crown, as the sister said, I climb a walk with her, um, to capture that mind, you ought to be stable and not fall for the treacheries. Get a good European education. That's where that those books will come into, those cosmology books.
mm-hmm.
But do not fall for the trickery that a double tongue can speak to you. So I was just looking at that. I'm like, yeah, the womb has the unk, and the child does have to be crowned by mother, and therefore she's putting the cross through the crown as well
Mm-hmm.
before they even came through it. Because once again, everything that's being done is just a mimicking.
Yep.
Yep, that's all
Period.
they do. So, but
I
yeah,
yield.
but if we look at the cross that they impaled in our heads, the middle section is up, right? It's not even. That's not an even cross. So if we go back to like the brother said, the chapter 2, and teach these things, like the sister said, that the mother, because the nation can't rise higher than the mother,
Mm.
right? So we got to, yeah. This is a great lesson. I'm just overwhelmed right now. I'm just goobly gobbly, and I apologize for that, but I yield. I really do. Islam.
All right. All right. Thank you. And now I'm going to say one last thing out of the Moors Empire in Europe that I started with, right? A statement. I want to say this to complete where I had said that as tribute to the eminence in Christian world, the Virgin and the Child occupied a post of honor among the 360 idols which crowded the sanctuary of Mecca. But check this out. This is going to answer about the Kaaba or about any other shrines. Hear this. Now, in the religious system of the peninsula, there was no mythology, a fact which perhaps contributed not a little to the speedy overthrow. But though polytheistic to the last degree, the Arabs, and that's the original Berbers, not these pale-faced ones, recognize a supreme being whose majesty was confined to no particular locality, to whom no altar was dedicated, and who, too awful to be directly addressed, could be approached only through his celestial ministers, the stars. This was the great Allah, whose name corresponding to the Il and the Elohim of the Jews was preeminent in honor and dignity, both in the age of ignorance and in the age of Islam. The most superstitious races of men and those that are the highest in intelligence amongst the most civilized have and require no shrines except yourself. Your body, your temple. You're the temple. You don't go externally. That's just within you. All right. So I think we've come to an end with this class, but there is one thing that we want Sister Karima to do. And first, before she reads this, or she could do, you could do it either way. Tomorrow is Enlightened Asiatic with Sister Karima. It's at 7 p.m. Not 7:30, because at first everybody knows that all the cities at 7:30. 7 p.m. And it's entitled Bridge Between Worlds, Mirror, Mirror, Reflection Time for Everyone. You have to sign up for that, right? It's a contribution for that. Now, Karima, you were going to, when you read about there can be no illegitimate children ever coming from mother. That and bastard child, take that out of your thought. She read that. All right. And so there was another part you said that went on to say something about Christianity. And if you would like to read that and make any other comment you want about your class tomorrow, that would be beautiful.
Wow, yeah. So I can I just read what this flyer says because I'm turning to water right now, which
All right.
everybody that knows me knows that I'm water, right? So, uh, does not wisdom call out? Does not understanding raise her voice at the highest point along the way where the paths meet? Where paths meet, she standeth. Wow. So,
Looking at your own
uh,
stuff. Right, I hear you.
yeah. So on next day, which is Moon Day, we are going to continue with the reflection because man's business is about reflection.
Hmm.
But in this case, we are using metaphysically and literally the mirror and how we bring those ends uh, to justify the things that we may be dealing with or encountering or living or trying to encompass to get to that wisdom. So, yes, that is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I trust everyone will be there. If you should have any problems, just contact me or the mother and we can make arrangements.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
All right. So, as far as what I read earlier, uh, I will. Wow, this class is Article 5. So, I'm just going to read the whole thing, Article 5. I promise I'll try to.
All right. No, that's fine. That's fine. So that we can be reminded, because this is
Yes.
all about the biggest Christian celebration, Easter, and we just went through it. All of every last one of them is about mother. And I showed you what the Christian religion wants to do for you. It wants to fine you, beat you publicly, or fine you, and they've done both. So
It's done both. Yeah. And,
yeah.
and, and if we look at the symbol for 5, it is the bottom of the triangle, which represents Earth, right?
All right.
Bottom of the triangle. So, Article 5, immoral marriage license against the zodiac law of nature. And I'm reading from the zodiac constitution. Truth cannot be altered and therefore need no apology, and neither doctrine, because it is the supreme mental doctor itself for the human family, woman and man. Number one, thus the truth is that the sisterhood Christian daughters of the American Revolution, the D.A.R, established the marriage license states right code to prevent the Moorish men and women from marrying into the Magna Charta society of quote white quote supremacy. So we know that white is a status. right? It is not a color, it is a status. Uh, Number two, do you ever stop to think that woman and man are already married by the supreme law of nature, and that a marriage license is a supreme act of violation of the law of nature? The natural law union between woman and man spells love and the reproduction of a child, which a marriage license plays no part in. Number three, definitely there cannot be any illegitimate offspring from woman and man because woman is the supreme gate of creation of both male and female children by
Mm,
the laws of nature, which spells Islam or I self law and master, the carpenter, and the grand architecture of the human family. Quote, Adam means the positive forces in woman and sons. And quote, Eve, end quote, means the negative forces of woman and sons, responsible for the evolution or reproduction of children by the law of nature. The Pope, priest, and preacher, judges of the Christian society, definitely cannot prove that their quote unquote Adam and Eve had a marriage license. Did you ever stop to think that the marriage license code is an act of selling woman and man back to themselves? The Union, Magna Charta, marriage license code, unfortunately and unconsciously caused the quote white woman to be cut off from the human family. Now, if white is a status,
mm-hmm. Who they
this
talking
is you Moors, right? You have the highest status. But when the brother puts it in quotes, that means this is so called in a sense, right? Women are the now he got them white, uh-oh, the Moorish nation. He's telling us. In other words, the quote white end quote woman are supreme social slaves against their will and desire. This
about?
has caused them to carry in their mind and heart secret sorrow and anger, which causes their children to inherit a tendency of crime, hatred, and insanity, and various other diseases.
Mm.
I yield.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. What a way to end this session. And I will say, because I heard it and I saw it, Islam, I, self law, and master is the beginning because and master is your mother. Once you unfold and the God within you unfolds and you go through your trials, your tribulations, you understand, you use the measures that were given to you, and you know what your foes are so that you can be strengthened. And as Jay showed on the fate, the spun, the present, and then the cut, or the measure, and then the cut, then you become I, self, law, am master. All right. Islam, love and peace to everyone. I appreciated this class. At first, I was gonna be, oh, it's Easter. I'm gonna cancel. Then I'm like, wait a minute. Divine Law said. Thank you, Shakawi. Amazing presentation. Love, peace, and truth to all. And I pulled out some of my stuff from the arsenal and put this together and trust now that we can be free. We can be free because freedom means self-determination. So I hope with what we shared today, you can make a determination about your position, your status in this world as you take your place amongst the affairs of man, and you can cast off and shed these religions, especially those that are, although they're supposed to be designed, as the prophets say, to teach of your infirmities, that you can shed off anything that has no benefits to you and walk through this life being who you are. That means that the spirit of knowledge, or the spirit of law, as we say, length, angle, and width of the cosmos that's in you, right? That will be your being, that you will have the spirit of all law within you, and you will be unstoppable. Just make sure you keep a circle around your passion, square up your conduct, because that is the only way you will be able to present in an intelligent tone. Love and peace to everyone. Thank you for being here. Trust to see you tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Love and truth. Thanks for the great presentment, I should say.
You're welcome.
Love and peace. Oh,
Thank you, Jay.
Want cop-
Thank you, Prima. Thank you, Sister
yes.
Energy, for
Love
your
and
input
peace.
in
Islam.
beautiful.
will copies be available for today's
Mhm.
session?
All right, who is that that's speaking?
It's Joshua. Yeah,
No.
Josiah.
Oh, how you doing? Haven't heard from you. You know what? I'd have to render this. Most of the sisters classes we definitely put up on our free YouTube channel called RB Bay Go to Class. Because they're, there's no one's paying for them or whatever. But this one will go up. Yes, it's a little longer than what I thought, so I might have to do part one and part two. But we had to get it all out today. And I forgot to say to everyone, I am hold on. I do did this class in honor of my mother who passed, and we put her to rest on Easter Monday, 44 years ago. And I would say that this right here is the picture, if you will, of a card that she gave me, the last card she ever gave me before she passed. And I scanned it in right here. That's a lion and a lamb. So the lion lays down with the lamb. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. That's an excerpt from Divine Warning for the Nations by Prophet Noble Ali. But this is a picture, a cover of the card that my mother had given me. And I did this class in honor of her. I had to put it together. So Messiah, yes, Josiah, I will render it and I'll send it to you. Or I'll post it actually up on the YouTube. Just give me about a week to do that. I might do it soon. All right, I'll let you know when it's up. Or if you have gone to the YouTube, RV Bay Go to Class YouTube, and you put subscribe with notification, anytime I put something up, you will be notified. And also, everyone, our Wednesday class is going to continue with beware of those who did birth certificate redemptions and consulate court activities. As you may know, the U.S.A, acting like they represent America, um, has removed all of their consuls from across the land because they can't afford to keep them up anyway. But the other reason is that all of the other nations of the world are rebuking them. And just this week, right after we did the class about Israel, they have now defined or decreed that the Israel must remove themselves from Palestine immediately. They are in the process of that because, as you know, U.S.A. The Israel was established in 1947, and it's nothing but an extended state of the U.S.A. A lot of people may or may not have known that. So all things are coming down. This is the time. Take your place amongst the affairs of men. This is not an exile like it used to be or maybe was from Israel way back. This is the time to speak up, stand up, and take your place amongst the affairs of man. So we'll see you tomorrow at 7, and we'll see you Wednesday with the continuation of our civics, because all of this, divine law is first, and then is divine and national, and then we get into civics for civilization or civilized people or civilized nation, civilized earth, civilization principles. We are the mothers and the fathers. Thank you for putting that up, Olivia. That is the link to the YouTube. You'll find some things on there now. So we are the mothers and fathers of civilization and civilization principles across all four corners of this earth. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Again, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Karima. Thank you, Sister Energy, for your energy as well. And thank everybody on the line for being here. I trust we have explained it in a simple way, because that's our goal. Goal. All right.
Islam.
Islam.
Hey, gratitude to you, RB Bay.
All right. Peace and love. Great class.
And I forgot, Olivia, you're the one who sent me that clip about Israel. But thank you for that. We'll be playing it next week. Thank you. Love and peace, everyone. Have a good one.
Love and peace.
Love and peace.
Love you all.
Love and peace.
Yes, yes, yes.
Love and peace.